was dead wrong on that. I think South Carolina obviously found a way to win. And I had an approach where until I saw South Carolina beat A&M with my own eyes, I just told myself I'm not going to let myself get caught up. I picked them to beat Kentucky 2 weeks before, and I wanted to see how they could kind of respond to having some success. And it just it felt a little bit like a breakthrough to me for the program with where it is right now. I don't like to put too much into one game, negatively or positively, but going in, this felt like one of those games where the fan base sort of sets itself up. The energy is high. You could see it, in the stadium. And at the time, at times in the past, they have just not been able to kind of ride that wave of momentum. And I thought they handled it well. Went out. They stopped the run, even though A-Chain got his yards, and I thought the A&M offense moved the ball. They got stops when they needed to. That was the big thing. Looking at the way A&M had dominated the line of scrimmage the last few years in this series, I know A&M has struggled offensively this year, but I wanted to see South Carolina actually go out there and match up along the lines of scrimmage against A&M. And, for the most part, they did that. They found a way to win. They started fast at home, which obviously they needed those 17 points, every last bit of them,
Yeah.
as the game sort of played out. You would have liked to have seen them kind of put their foot on their throats when they had a chance, but not gonna, not gonna do anything to stain what was a massive victory for South Carolina. Put themselves in position now to have a really successful season and continue to build momentum, I think, on the recruiting trail as well. That's the type of atmosphere you can sell to those prospects that were on campus. Tons of what you would say are like the next line of prospects, 2024 guys who are sort of formulating the schools they're going to consider. Those guys were on campus, and no negatives for me. I'm sure we'll dive in and we can nitpick it at some point, but off top, huge win. Not going to take that away, and the Gamecocks got the job done.
Chris, your final score prediction on Gamecock Central was 96-4. I don't know why you thought Texas A&M was going to have two safeties. That was a bold prediction. In any case, what did you see that you thought was going to happen on Saturday and did happen on Saturday?
Well, I think the number one thing was just that this was the type of game that I think we all expected. I mean, we said on Friday that if we were walking in here talking about a 42 to 38 game or 38-35 with a bunch of offense, that would have been surprising. So I think that was the biggest thing, just the flow of the game. Now, I didn't expect South Carolina to score 17 points before you got into your seat.
Yeah.
But the way the game played out with, points being at a premium for the most part, some ugliness to the game, kind of mucked up a little bit. I think that's about what we expected. I thought that South Carolina would win this game because the defense would play well enough. They would make enough plays. They would give up some yardage in between the 20s, which is kind of what they did, but that they would be able to bow up and get some key stops, force Haynes King into some mistakes, which certainly they did. We saw that very early. Maybe make a big special teams play. We saw that early. Saw more than one big special teams play. And they just outperformed A&M in general on special teams. Just the simple stuff, they were able to outperform them as well as the big plays. And then offensively, they were able to do enough. A&M came in as the number one team in the league in red zone defense. They've been phenomenal there. And I think number 2 in the country overall. And was it disappointing on, drive 2 to have to settle for a field goal for South Carolina? Sure, because you could, like Wes said, kind of step on their throat there. But South Carolina was able to get points in those situations, which against A&M has not been an automatic or a given this season.
Also, number 1 in the conference at forcing 3 and outs.
Yep.
Carolina only had 2 3 and outs. Those were in the second half. There were some other short drives. A one-play fumble drive is not a 3 and out technically, but also not an ideal result for your offense.
Weren't there 2 of those? What in Spencer's?
Oh yeah.
That was another one.
So plenty of short drives for Carolina, not necessarily in the form of a 3 and out, but I don't know. I thought the game kind of played out a little bit like I expected. A few more scores, and again, a couple of short fields for Carolina, a short field for Texas A&M. I think making up for some of those scores. By and large, I wasn't surprised from what I saw. Really from either offense. I thought Carolina would go to Lloyd more early. I think it's problematic, and we can discuss, why they didn't. But both of those guys, both he and A-Chain, finished with 100+ total yards, kind of what we expected late in the game. Both teams kind of relying on them. I didn't realize that A-Chain was as big a factor in the passing game as he, like, watching the game. I didn't realize that he had 7 catches, but I don't know, kind of played out like I thought on paper, and just weird to be sitting here on a Monday, Carolina playing an imperfect game. So I think it's fair to say Carolina's just a better team than A&M.
Yeah, and they went and outperformed them, and I think once again, Pete Limbo. I know we talk about him a lot on this show, man, but special teams coming out making a play, and in this case, let's call it for what it is. It wasn't that they schemed Leggett necessarily into the end zone. That was a big boy play from him, breaking a lot of tackles. But even I'll go back to the decision. I'll be honest. I thought Juju McDowell did a really good job as the kickoff returner last year in that role. Had a huge return for them against ECU that helped win the game. And when I was a little bit surprised to see Leggett be given or to earn the kickoff return role this year. And I thought it was interesting. We were watching a game earlier on, and it was just touchback after touchback after touchback. I was watching the game with my brother, and he's like, "Man, you just do not see teams bring it out of the end zone anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another area where if you are confident in your return team, you can put some pressure on the other team if you're willing to take that risk. But if you are willing to take the risk, a lot of these teams don't have to actually defend kickoffs anymore.
Right.
So, do you get a little bit of that? Well, I'm just sprinting down. I'm not actually going to have to tackle anybody. Is there a little bit of let up? I don't know. But certainly just from an experience standpoint, teams don't have to cover kickoffs near as many times as they used to. So I think that kind of, A&M coming off of a bye week. I don't know if they hit in practice during bye weeks or not, or how much they did. I know they were pretty banged up. But Leggett, big, strong dude, was able to just kind of run through some tackles there on the edge. And then I thought he had a weird sort of running style to him, and I didn't realize at the time
Mm-hmm.
he was doing that with one shoe. So not only had one shoe, but threw up the peace sign on the way by. That was special, and it set the tone for the whole night.
He was saying bye to his shoe.
Yes, his shoe and about 3 defenders that he ran through.
Yeah, it was like they were all like tackling the lead blockers. It was a very strange. I told Preston I've watched that play 6 or 7 times now, and I still don't understand how he scored on it. It was.
I don't know what happened. And Shane Beamer said that it was not blocked well, which I'll take his word for it. He knows what should be done there, and obviously A&M did a pretty poor job tackling,
Yeah.
but I thought there were some good efforts by South Carolina. Certainly, you had multiple guys in position to where they could have gotten, which is probably what Beamer's alluding to. But Bam Martin Scott had a key block. He turned the kicker, who was the last line of defense, right near the sideline, completely turned him away, flattened him. That was kind of the key final block there. Rashad Amos was down there with a good block. DeCarrion Joyner was out there with a good block.
Well, maybe they should try not blocking kickoffs well.
Yeah, if
next
that's not
time,
blocking, then
that's what it took.
Yeah, how about Bam getting the block there, and then he actually had the put away hit on the QB at the end of the game, at the final Hail Mary. So good things seem to happen when 22 is on the field.
They brought him in. I think Will Helms pointed this out on Twitter. You bring in Bam at the end of the game situationally, and he's sitting back there kind of over the slot, and you blitz him. Very undervalued type of thing. You don't really notice it, but a smart play call at the end to
Always
bring in Bam,
pressure at the end.
Who's adept at getting after the passer, and he makes that play. Now they have no chance.
Bam is the closer. He was on the field for the end of the Kentucky game, and on the field for the end of this game as well.
Here's the question that I have for Preston. When does a thing become a thing? Going into the game, I remember last Tuesday, somebody asked Shane Beamer, "Hey, you've got a really good, record when your team has extra time to prepare, to start the season, the bowl game, an open week last year." And I was like, well, you played Cupcakes to start the season. I don't really care about the bowl game. I don't remember who they played after the open week last year. It's like, maybe there's something here, but it's a small sample size. Wes is making a face. He doesn't like me dismissing wins against Eastern Illinois and Georgia State.
No. I'm wondering why it was Florida. That was a huge win off of the bye
week. Florida?
Week.
Yeah, that's a huge win. But so that basically gives us a sample size of 1, I got the extra time to prepare for Eastern Illinois and Georgia State doesn't matter. The bowl game, I guess the extra time. Point is, I wasn't sold. I don't know if I am now, but is this when you start? Is now when we start to talk about a thing becoming a thing? Shane Beamer with extra time. Not yet.
Not yet.
Cool.
Not yet. Not yet. But it could be something that good for us media types to grab onto. I don't think it's anything that's in the building, but we can talk about it though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there are definitely coaches that have earned that reputation. I'm not saying that Shane has at this point, but it's on the radar now, I guess.
Well, yeah, no, it can't be a thing because in those previous games, we saw a marked difference in game plans, and we did not see one this time.
It's almost more of a credit, though, that they didn't overthink it in the intervening week.
That first drive would beg to differ.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Good point. All right. Just had to ask. That's good. We got an answer. Asked and answered. There we go. 803-404-6100. Want to hear thoughts from you guys? Got a bunch of texts here. Some of you lined up in the Love Chevy phone line. We'll get some of your thoughts. We'll recap our buy or sell. And rather than playing, good, bad, and the ugly, we did some winners and losers in the last hour. We're going to talk about good, better, best. That was Preston's suggestion just during the break. So we're going to figure this thing out on the fly. Want to hear from you guys. 803-404-6100 at Pearson Fowler, at Coach P Tweets, at Wes Mitchell GC, and at GC Chris Clark.
The early game with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen.
Aside from you bragging that you picked the winner, I don't know if we mentioned who actually won the race or what it meant for the actual playoffs. We more discussed the fight.
Yeah. And that's why it would have been more block game material.
All right. That's why she's the producer and I just sit here in my little
yeah. I don't ever make a producer just go with the flow.
You're a wise man.
The fight back and forth over the mic would probably not be what people want to hear.
On your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
This is Damon Amendolara with your CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. This is the sad part of a legend's career, where the hero hangs on for a little bit too long. Tom Brady getting whipped by the Panthers yesterday feels like Emmett on the Cardinals, Jerry Rice on the Seahawks, something we just didn't need to see. This is Damon Amendolara.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. Changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $37.99. Get everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
It's all over the news. Interest rates are rising, but not everywhere.
Gotta go.
Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone is offering 0 down and 3.9% financing for 84 months on new Jeep Renegades. And unlike other dealerships, Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone is selling new vehicles below MSRP. Plus, we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And we'll give you exactly what your trade is worth down to the penny. Don't forget, you can still custom order the exact Jeep you want for just $1 down and $1,000 below MSRP. Upgrade to a new Jeep today with 0 down and 3.9% financing for 84 months during Jeep Adventure Days at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone, I-126 Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com. New Renegade stock number 28515, 1362 per month for 1,000 borrowed for 84 months at 3.9% APR with 0 down. Negative trade equity financed to new loans subject to lender approval. Offers don't combine. Expires month end.
Spooky season is here, and there's nothing scarier than dingy, dirty, crunchy carpet under your feet. Trust no one other than the cleaning experts at Zerez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning to save your home from the dirt monsters. With over 1,900 Google reviews and a 4.9 star rating, Zerez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is the most highly reviewed cleaning company in the Midlands. Take advantage of their fall sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Schedule your cleaning online, ZerezColumbia.com.
Hey guys, it's me, wrestling legend Ric Flair, and I'm on a mission to help millions of guys put more flair down there with Mount Everest. Unlike generic ED treatment programs that can take up to 60 minutes to work, Mount Everest can have you standing at attention in as little as 5 minutes. You'll have an absolutely mind-blowing experience every time. That's because only Mount Everest offers a unique 3-in-1 custom compounded medication. Mount Everest will make you a kiss-stealing, wheeling-dealing son of a gun like me every night. Don't lose another night to ED. Put some flair down there with Mount Everest. Woo!
See if Mount Everest is right for you. Go to joinnuimage.com now and use promo code RADIO to save 20%. That's join, the letters NU, image.com and use promo code RADIO to save 20%. Go to joinnuimage.com and save 20% with promo code RADIO.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour.
Presented by Firehouse Subs. Founded by Fire.
Hey, Chris. You have integrated here.
On the home of the Gamecocks.
1075
The Game.
20 minutes after 11 o'clock on a Reaction Monday here on 107.5 The Game, and welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Pearson, Preston, Wes, Chris here with you. A lot of thoughts on Carolina A&M. We'll do good, better, best, a new game from the mind of Preston Thorne coming up in just a little bit and get more of your thoughts on Carolina's 30-24 win over A&M, the first win over the Aggies in program history. Anybody else surprised that Jimbo made it back to College Station Saturday night? Thought they might drop him off in Atlanta. No?
It's I just wonder what that plane ride was like. What that trip was like.
Quiet.
Because I did see a good amount of Texas A&M folks there.
Yeah.
So I imagine some of the big money boosters, the big check writers came with them, and they rode the team plane, and they were not supposed to lose to this little old South Carolina. That's just the attitude I felt from the folks. Texas A&M people are almost annoyingly nice, even with the stupid yell cheer. The most of the fans I saw were kind of like they felt like if they were just taking a trip to watch a game, they were gonna win and go back home.
They thought it was going to be a very low pressure experience. You mean like they were just like,
this is gonna be nice. Let's go see what Columbia's like. Let's check this out. And
it did not play out probably like they were expecting.
Didn't work out the way they thought it would.
We'll get some of your thoughts on this game in just a minute. Chris wants to tell everybody about the good folks at Integrated Media first.
Yeah, Integrated Media can do anything that you need in your home from an AV standpoint, audio visual, whether it's internet to make sure that you can stream all of the amazing college football action. It's been a great year so far, but lots more games to go, obviously. We just hit the halfway point. Make sure you're situated for the rest of the college football season. If you need to figure out, hey, I don't know how to set up multiple TVs or multiple devices. I need to have 3 TVs, my phone, my iPad, whatever you may have, so you can watch all the college football action on the weekends. Not only can they do that for you, but they can make sure that your internet signal is strong enough to be able to handle all that when you got your kids playing games on their tablets or the phone, and you're trying to watch a couple games at once, and you're trying to browse GamecockCentral.com, listen to 107.5 all at the same time. They can make sure that you are well situated to do that. Or Sonos wireless speakers. Set up your video game systems on a switcher like they've done at my house. Anything that you may need from that standpoint, give the guys Michael and Nathan at Integrated Media a call, 803-948-8327, or visit their website at integratedmediainc.com. If you don't know what you want at your house, or you might have some ideas to see if it's feasible, give them a call. They can do it for you. integratedmediainc.com.
Let's go out to the phone line. Taylor is up first in hour number 3 here. What's up, Taylor?
What's up, man? Big Gamecock fan here. I was at the game Saturday night, and I feel like one of the things that kind of not talked about enough is how well this O-line's playing. They have looked extremely better since the first couple games, and just real impressed by the Gamecocks win. I mean, it wasn't always pretty at times, but we got the job done, and really impressed by Gamecocks.
Well, Taylor, appreciate the call. I definitely think the line deserves a shout out. Preston and I gave out some winners and losers in the second hour, and I guess there were still a couple of sacks in this game, a little bit of pressure. I still continue to feel like a lot of that is Spencer's own doing. I thought the line played pretty well.
Well, I'm not even sure how well they played, but as I said last hour, they definitely won the underwear Olympics against Texas A&M. They looked like they filled out their uniforms way better than A&M. Those whites were not flattering for the big fellas.
No.
A&M.
Yeah, I like the all garnets, and even the black lids were cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if that's the analysis you wanted, but that's where I'm landing on it.
Wes?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly the O-line, I would say, the last 4 games compared to a lot of what we saw last year, I would say if we're going to go ahead and get into our, what is it, better,
better, best.
Yeah, better the last few weeks for sure. And I would still like to see them cut down on those negative plays just a little bit. I'm with you. A lot of the pressure this season has been a bit on sort of the angles and maybe Rattler trying to escape when there's not actual pressure, and then it invites more pressure. Yeah, so I think for the most part, though, when they run the football and when they sort of get hard-headed in the run and just kind of make that what they do, it kind of snowballs, it kind of builds for them. And I think we saw a little bit of that in the second half. Offense, the one thing you can say about them that was very good is that when they have really needed big drives, they've, for the most part, been able to get that this year. And I think a big part of that on that, what I would call the final drive where they went up by 2 scores, they kind of put it on the O-line and Marshawn Lloyd. And, I thought that was pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
2 straight games now. And I'm counting Charlotte and SC State, but I'm kind of talking about conference play for the purposes of illustrating this point. 2 straight games now where South Carolina has won the lines of scrimmage, in my opinion, offensively and defensively, against 2 teams that for the last several years, for the most part, has dominated both lines of scrimmage. So pretty telling to me. I mean, A&M has, Wes said it going into this year's game against A&M. It's been a brick wall trying to run the football for the most part. Not the case this year. Some negative plays, sure, but they won that. Defensively, I think they won the line of scrimmage against A&M's O-line. And same thing with Kentucky, which we discussed after that game. So I thought a pretty dramatic turnaround there.
Not being funny, I don't know if y'all have the number, but I know, Wes, you talked about how poorly Carolina had run against Texas A&M in those last 3 games, outscored by 1 million. Did they have more rushing yards on Saturday than the last 3 games combined?
Ooh.
Because I know they hadn't gotten over 50, I think, in a couple of years.
I would say probably not quite, but definitely close to it. And the thing was last year, if I remember right, they had some late yardage in that game after it was already like 41-0 or 44-0. So certainly in the actual meat of the game, they ran the ball probably just even eye test better during the game Saturday than they did the other 3 combined. And to Chris's point, the D line, man, not that they have the same, there's not Jadeveon Clowney out there, but there were times when South Carolina could pin its ears back that it reminded me, compared to what we've seen for several years there, where you just saw all 4 guys getting in the backfield, putting pressure on the A&M quarterbacks, and you actually felt, I feel like, confident if it was a passing situation that South Carolina could get pressure on the QB more times than not. And I feel like there's been too many times since that special run that just has not been the case. They do bring 5 at times. It's not like they're just going to rush 4, but I do feel like that's been something the last few weeks, that the pressure on the opposing quarterback has been really, really good.
Yeah. Still no sacks for Carolina, which I think has to be incredibly disappointing for all those guys individually. But so many times when they were affecting the passer, batting the ball at the line of scrimmage, forcing a rush throw. Haynes King made a couple of, like the touchdown pass that he made, the individual effort right before halftime was, spectacular. And that's a play that Carolina needs to be able to finish. But even without the sacks, there were still plenty of times when you could tell he was feeling the heat.
He got hit a bunch. I don't know what the number was, but he got hit a ton. And it just felt like there was pretty consistent pressure. I'll say this: I don't think his QBR or whatever was too high, and he had the big early interception. Haynes King actually is a better talent than being someone that doesn't really watch A&M a ton. He is better than I thought he was, and I think he stood in there and made some throws that kind of kept their offense on the field. And then, when Carolina's kind of trying to put the game away, he kept A&M in the game. And then, like you said, that play for the touchdown where he almost goes down and pops up, you could tell he wasn't 100% either, and just gets the ball out to his tight end. He made some really nice individual efforts. I know they're sort of seems like their fan base is ready to move on from him, but I think that guy's got some real ability.
803-404-6100. More of your thoughts, more of good, better, and best as we continue to unpack the Carolina A&M game, plus still to come. Recap of last week's buy or sell. I think the first good week that I've had. So of course I'm gonna advertise that this segment's coming up a lot because y'all need to know that I did well for once. Finally. 803-404-6100.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game. High school coverage on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, count on the experts at Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine to get you moving again. Our highly specialized physicians offer comprehensive care for patients at 5 convenient locations throughout the Midlands. Whether you're an athlete looking to return to your sport after injury or someone who needs help for knee, hip, elbow, shoulder, or foot pain, we're here for you. Our expert team can get you better sooner. Visit lexmed.com/ortho to learn more.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next-day grogginess, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep plus next-day energy with melatonin plus extended-release B vitamins.
Come on, we're going to be late to the cookout.
I was just packing up my famous mac and cheese.
I hope you packed the Pepto, too.
Huh?
Pepto-Bismol provides fast relief from heartburn and indigestion. You know, that uncomfortable feeling after you eat too much. And after the deviled eggs, baked beans, and barbecue ribs, you're going to need it.
Barbecue ribs? I should probably pack an extra shirt, too.
Good call.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
So many people here are getting real lasting joint pain relief from QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I would recommend QC to anybody. The work that QC Kinetics did paid off exponentially.
It brought me back to an effective age of almost in my 20s and 30s.
QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologics from your own body, precision treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue in your aching joints with no meds, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain.
It is a all-natural therapy. You're using you to fix you.
I got my life back. I got my smile back. And best of all, I got my laugh back.
Don't live with that pain anymore. And don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Learn more about regenerative options from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
Fall is here, and with it comes all the traditional family outings like tailgating, mountain and beach adventures, and road trips to grandma's over the holidays. Wherever you go, go with great gas mileage, safety, technology, comfort, and style. And a new Honda from Honda of Columbia. Right now, you'll get more for your trade than ever, and as always, you'll enjoy their no-hassle pricing, no-pressure buying experience. Honda of Columbia, your friendly family Honda dealer since 1978. Highway 378 at I-20.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-700-4333. That's 1-800-700-4333. 1-800-700-4333.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell on the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
$11:34 on a Monday morning, and welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour here on 107.5 The Game. Pearson Fowler, Preston Thorne, Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark, unpacking South Carolina's 30-24 win over Texas A&M. Just did not think that Carolina was going to be here right now. Maybe 5-2, but you would have thought Georgia, Texas A&M losses. The fact that Carolina has now beaten Kentucky and Texas A&M in back-to-back games. They have entered the top 25 as number 25, and they have opened as a 5-point favorite against Missouri. South Carolina, just the rest of the season now, the expectations through the roof, I believe, for the fan base after an exciting showing Saturday night. I'm not going to act like it was like a comprehensively great win, perfect game, or anything like that from South Carolina, because still plenty that this team can improve on, but did enough to win 30-24 Saturday night in Williams-Brice Stadium. Before we go back out to the phone lines, want to hear more from you guys, but Wes has a great recommendation for anybody that needs to move. It's something you have to do, and it doesn't have to suck.
Yeah, that's the best way you can say it, man, because normally it does suck. It doesn't have to. Just go to GamecockMoving.com or give them a call, 803-814-3569. If you don't like talking to other human beings, you can even text them. Residential and commercial moving services. And the best thing about this is right now, if you give them a call or go online and book, tell them that you heard about Gamecock Moving right here on 107.5. You will get a discount just by mentioning us. They will treat your belongings as if they were their own. All their guys are trained W-2 employees. They do have a 2-hour minimum on all moves, but other than that, you can have them do as much or as little as you want. Again, Gamecock Moving, that's GamecockMoving.com, 803-814-3569. They helped me move. They can do the same for you.
Michael's up next to the phone line. Michael, what's on your mind?
Hi, guys. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yep. What's
Loud
up?
and clear.
Yes, sir. I don't like to say row. I was in section 502, row 31, C11. Saturday night as we beat the Aggies, I'm just saying, and you guys talk about the atmosphere that was created there. It wasn't just in the stadium; it was before the stadium. It was that feeling of we're gonna win this football game. It was in the fans. You see it in the team. It was expected, just like it was expected to win against Kentucky. It's an attitude of our fan base now. And you guys, you better get on the train. Get on the Beamer train because it's going places and it's going fast.
Thank you for the call, Michael. I felt as we crept closer and closer to the Texas A&M game that even though the Aggies were favored, that people in Columbia were starting to feel like it was a game that Carolina was supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
Wes, you and I talked about this after the show Friday. It was like, are you there yet? Are you getting a little too ahead of yourself? But I mean, I can't speak to it because I was not in the stadium Saturday night. But Preston, did it feel like people walked into Williams-Brice expecting Carolina to win?
Absolutely not.
Really?
You wouldn't have had that explosion of energy if people were expecting to win that game.
I see.
Everybody was very happy. I would say pleasantly surprised. But you've been in stadiums where we were expecting to beat Charlotte. and there wasn't that eruption of energy. I think everybody's very happy to win, and maybe now we can start moving on to hoping to win. But
like you're hoping that the environment is like 20% less for Missouri.
Expectation is a bit far.
Okay.
I think we all thought it was possible.
Yes. People just allow themselves to believe that it could
we
happen.
were starting to wanting to believe, but expectations a little far.
That's part of the reason why I am so impressed with the win itself is that
Absolutely.
they did not play their best game. They didn't have to play a perfect game to win this game. And it felt going in, this is what Pierce and I were talking about after the show Friday. It felt to me kind of like that Kentucky game early in the Muschamp era where South Carolina came in. They had a little momentum. They actually scored on the first offensive play or second offensive play of that game.
To Debo.
The place is going wild, and you could feel it walking into the stadium that night. The fan base was ready to believe again.
That's the phrase, right?
They're ready to believe.
Yep.
And then they just got punched right in the gut. And to South Carolina's credit, they punched A&M. A&M actually took it, battled back. They didn't knock them out, but then they found a way. And, as much as we can nitpick the offense, and a lot of it is valid, when the game was 24-21 and they needed a drive, that's maybe the most impressive thing to me is that they got it done. They won ugly with some upside to go. Like here's the thing. It's funny. People like to try to predict individual games going into a season. You can never account for the sort of emotional state of a team, the psyche of a team. They have momentum right now. They have not just the belief. Impressed. I'm sure you've been in locker rooms where, everybody believes we're going to win, but you're maybe convincing yourself, or maybe even locker rooms where coach is trying to tell you can win and everybody just kind of rolls their eyes a little bit. I feel like true belief, not manufactured belief, goes a long way. So they have found that momentum, and now you go in. Now we get to see the other side. Can you deal with a little success? Can you deal with your classmates praising you on campus and beat a couple teams that you're definitely gonna be favored the next 2 weeks? Can you deal with it? And I know we'll get into Missouri all week long, but a Missouri team that seems to lose, but seems to keep every game close.
They were up 17-0 at halftime against Vanderbilt, and the final score of that game was 17-14. So just expect something close. I have two questions. I want to hear. We got a couple more of you lined up on the phone lines. A couple of questions because Wes, you said they didn't play their best game, and I think that's fair. A lot of mistakes to clean up. South Carolina's played 7 though. What is the best game Carolina's played this year?
I would probably say I was going to say the Kentucky game. Actually, you think Saturday? You think it was their best game overall?
Well, I guess it's what are we describing when we say best?
True.
I guess closest to realizing their potential.
Closest to realizing their potential. I don't know. I'm sort of done with whatever potential is or could be. As I told you, I've entered the a win is a win phase of analysis. But for all the reasons that Wes just mentioned, there was a lot of opportunities for them to lose this game. And I think it says something about the fortitude of a team to not necessarily fold or give up those opportunities. So to me, though it wasn't clean or even maybe to whatever their potential is, to me this was their best victory. And also because it's their latest one.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I'm going back and forth actually between Saturday and the Kentucky game. I mean, it's obviously one of those. No other candidate that's even close. No.
Well, Charlotte, I just mean that like Charlotte was at least a complete game. It was a start to finish, pretty consistent effort, even if the level of competition wasn't
right. You bake in the comp. Charlotte's obviously extremely bad.
Yep.
Shout out to Coach Healy.
I think you can make an argument for either one. I think there are some areas where South Carolina played better than they did against Kentucky, and some areas where I think the point I would make, and I'm not even answering the question, regardless of whether you think Saturday or the Kentucky game was the best performance so far, I do feel pretty convinced that this team could play better than we've seen. Like Spencer,
maybe by giving Marshawn Lloyd more than 3 carries in the first half?
Yeah, but I have some thoughts on that too.
Okay.
I think the offense can get better. I think Spencer Rattler can play better. We've seen this team improve. You remember week 1, and now let's bring it forward to now. This team has improved.
But I think there's one obvious reason why they've improved, and there's probably several factors. But to me, Spencer's not really better. The wide receivers are kind of the same. No.
Spencer's actually better, I think.
Really?
And yeah, I do.
I think these last 2 games are the worst I've seen him play. So I'm fascinated that we have such a difference in opinion here.
Well, it's 2 of the better teams that they play. I mean,
that's true.
I think he played better. I think Charlotte and SC State games were good for them. I also think, and I'm not saying this is like an excuse or it should have been this way. Like they should have had it more figured out in game 1 than they did, right? Like, I mean, Sat was talking about it the other day. He said he wanted to throw up watching that game. I mean, we can all see why. It was not a good offense.
And we can quote him on that.
Right. But the offense is in a better position than they were, and I think Spencer is as well. Are there things that need to be cleaned up and plays he needs to make? Yes, but I think our expectations are so high for Spencer that like the mistakes he makes, they're like super magnified, and we almost forget about the plays he makes look routine that are decidedly not routine. I think he can play a good bit better even than he has the past 2 weeks, and I think they'll need that, frankly.
I think they will too. All right, well, we will have more time, I guess, tomorrow and Wednesday to talk about some of these differences because I think it is very interesting. Lloyd, I think, has to be considered a big part of the equation of Carolina turning around their offense. So, like week 1, I don't know how many carries he had, 9, 10. Like Carolina finding their number 1 back and leaning on that has been a big difference. Didn't do that early against Kentucky, didn't do it early against A&M, did it late in both of those games to great effect. So we'll continue to talk about that as we continue on here, not just today, but throughout the week. 803-404-6100. That's the text line. That's the Love Chevy phone line. And all of us are on Twitter at Pearson Fowler, at Wes Mitchell GC, at Coach P Tweets, at GC Chris Clark. We will recap our buy or sell as we wrap up our reaction Monday after Carolina beat Texas A&M 30-24. Love to hear from you next.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game. This football season and every football season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
Hey Midlands, Gus Hurlong with Midas Auto Service and Tires.
This is DK Jonah for Midas in the Midlands. I will not take my car anywhere for service but Midas. Total car care. Trust me, you will win at Midas.
Thanks, DK. And don't forget to ask about our loaner cars while your vehicle is serviced.
I'm here with Jacob Crowder, known to our listeners as the mortgage guru. We're all hearing about mortgage rates right now. Jacob, what's the market telling you?
Now more than ever, it's important to know your mortgage banker. When working in a volatile market, it's important to be well-informed and have the ability to move quickly. Working with a local bank gives you access to bank products and superior service. Here at First Palmetto, we have your best interest at heart and have the ability to get the job done. Call me today, 803-719-1005, or email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
It's good stuff, Jacob. Tell me more.
We are still seeing a competitive purchase market. Having a strong requalification from a local bank goes a long way with a tight market. With housing supplies still being minimal, we're doing a lot of construction loans. If you're looking to buy land and build on it, or if you're looking to build on land you already have, we're a great resource for construction loans. Call us today to discuss how we can help you. 803-719-1005 or email at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
In times like these, you need an expert. Call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, 803-719-1005.
First Palmetto Bank is an equal housing lender, a member of FDIC, and all loans are subject to approval. My NMLS number is 198432.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
Hey, y'all. Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
The Guttermen have been providing top-notch service throughout the Midlands for over 47 years, building their business on relationships, not gimmicks. And you can call them locally, not a 1-800 number. Call them today at 791-7147 and look for the guys in the powder blue trucks.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour.
Presented by Firehouse Subs. Founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler,
Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell.
On the home of the Gamecocks.
1075
The Game.
$11:49 Monday morning. It's a reaction Monday here on 107.5 The Game, and welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Pearson, Preston, Wes, Chris here with you. Plenty more thoughts, of course, and we'll get really granular tomorrow as we like to do on Tuesdays. Spend a little bit more time probably on Wednesday. This is a big, big win for Carolina, so we'll spend a lot of time on it. We'll recap our buy or sell from the weekend in just a minute, but we'll get one more word here on the Love Chevy phone line from Hunter. What's up, Hunter?
Hey, what's going on? You can hear me?
Yep. What's up?
Okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah, so last night, or not last night, it was Saturday night. I keep forgetting it's Monday. Yeah, so I was actually there at the game, and that was probably like my first Carolina game. I went to a Florida and LSU game, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And funny, that's actually pretty funny because I was a huge Carolina fan, and that was my first game. So it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Man, I want to ask a couple questions. How did the experience in person live up to what you thought it would be?
Honestly, I mean, of course I had a little bit of doubt, because it's Carolina, because you never know. But I've always thought I've actually thought that Carolina was probably going to lose this game, and I was not expecting that kickoff return, and that was probably one of the loudest moments I've ever even experienced. Like they're loud, they're way louder than Florida, and Florida's pretty loud.
I think that's accurate with fan bases who, even though Florida, because even I played in the Swamp and it was okay. It wasn't super loud, but I think that level of loudness that experienced on Saturday night was probably unmatched in that stadium.
Yeah, without doubt. Like I've only said they were loud because when they were playing that Tom Petty song, "Won't Back Down," that was definitely one of the best experiences I've experienced. But the sandstorm and all, man, that was just it was fun. It was fun that night, especially when everybody's Carolina and you got the A&M fans. I was on the visitor side, and you got the Carolina fans and A&M fans talking shit to each other. It was just funny, and it was just the best experience ever.
Hunter, appreciate the call. Glad you had a good time. Shane Beamer was very appreciative of your and all the other fans' efforts, making Williams-Brice a really tough environment to the tune of 8 false starts, some communication issues. Yeah. So there's a sweet spot. You have to be good enough that people care to go out there and fight fair traffic and get liquored up and stay late, but you can't be so good, to your point, Preston, that they expect it.
And I think we're in that sweet spot right now. We're in the honeymoon phase or the first year or however you want to call it, but everything is brand new again. And I love Wes's statement. Like, we're ready. We're open to loving again. We're here. We're here, and we just want the program to do us right. And it looks like we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, 2 straight weeks. Shane Beamer has given people something to cheer about. So we'll see what Carolina can do to follow that up this weekend. A winnable game. They're now the favorite for the first time in a month against Missouri. We'll see how that goes. But of course, more time later in the week to talk about it. Buy or sell. So I wanted to play this last week, and stuff gets away from us and forget things and yada yada yada. But so last week, Wes did not give me credit for picking Tennessee to upset Alabama. Do y'all remember that? Can y'all bear witness to this, Chris?
No.
Preston?
No.
I don't.
You don't remember this?
I don't.
Hey, do you have did you bring the evidence?
Well, I had the footage.
Is that
but
what's happening?
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Now we were sitting here on Monday recapping buy or sell. Oh no, Pearson, you didn't say that Tennessee was going to pull the upset. I got the thing. It doesn't matter. People don't want to hear it. That's fine. We can just move on to this past week.
I mean, I did admit, hey, you could be right. We'll have to check the tape. I wasn't confident.
We just need someone else recording the minutes.
Yes.
Of this show besides Wes.
Well, guess what, Pearson? You're going to get your credit this week because
I dominated.
You won buy or sell because Preston wasn't here.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I got 2 right. Chris got 2 right. Larry got 2 right. Pearson, you got 3 right. And the only one you didn't get was actually yours that you came up with on the fly.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I regret it.
Yeah, Kai Kroger did not outpunt the A&M offense by yardage.
But he did outpunt Carolina's offense in the first half. So there was that.
There was that. But yes, you that was the only one you got wrong. Lloyd, more yards than A-Chain. You sold. A-Chain did edge him out. Gamecocks will win the turnover battle. You sold. That was a tie, I think. And I think we even talked about how a tie would win that one for you.
Yep.
The Kroger thing. And then South Carolina will win the game. Everybody that was here bought except me. So boo me. I was wrong. But yeah, good job.
Shout out Larry from Firehouse Subs. No prep.
Yep. He said the score was 28-17. So he had actually the closest. Well, no, because they did end up cutting it to 6. He had 28-17. Chris had 24-20. Pearson had 24-19. South Carolina.
I think Larry has to come back on Friday.
Well, especially if he'll bring us free Firehouse.
Yeah. I think that's baked into it.
That was really
good.
nice. Yeah,
I did
Preston,
send him a message after the
missed
game.
sandwich day. As someone that loves sandwiches.
Yeah. And brownies and cookies.
Yes.
Should I tell everybody about Kendall Walsh?
You should.
Yes, our buy or sell segment is brought to you by Kendall Walsh because she can help you buy or sell a home in Columbia. She is with the Moore Company, 803-414-3590. Work with Walsh. That's workwithwalsh@gmail.com. Also at Work with Walsh. That's her Twitter, her Instagram. You can find her on all the social medias. You may remember Kendall when she worked with the Gamecock Club. She was Kendall Belk at the time. She was the first female assistant Gamecock Club director in its history. She's a huge Gamecock fan. Again, she helped me and my fiance through the process. She also helped my future mother-in-law sell her home. So I've had a chance to work with Kendall on both sides of this thing. Smooth process. And I got to tell you, somebody who can help you through that process is absolutely worth their weight in gold because if you have bad representation when it comes to buying or selling a house, it can get ugly. So she can do the same for you as she did for us. 803-414-3590. That's Kendall Walsh with the Moore Company.
If you have a quick answer, fire away. Otherwise, sleep on it, and we'll circle back tomorrow. Night games. When was the last time Carolina had a night game that was such a favorable result for Carolina? We can sleep on it.
Yeah, I feel like
this is good. I feel like there's something to
one.
that. I told Preston earlier, if Carolina had beaten Texas A&M in the exact same game at noon, it would not have been as dramatic a win as playing it under the lights prime time.
The Auburn game last year was a night game, right?
Yep.
Was it?
Yep.
Yeah. Auburn and Florida last year.
Yeah, and Florida.
Florida was in the...
Nope. It's at home.
It's in the swamp this year. It was at home.
This year.
So you only have to go back 1 year. Those were not... I don't remember Carolina having any night games last year.
They were at night, and they were not the same.
Yeah, those atmospheres, the atmosphere on Saturday night, definitely better than those other two. I was one of the best in a while.
It felt important.
I don't have the answer for that question, but the polar opposite was the App State night game.
Oh
yes,
right.
Yep.
For as low as that
Miserable.
felt, that's how high this
I
one
very
felt.
rarely leave games early. I left that game early.
You should have.
Yeah.
But this was the total opposite of that.
Yeah. It was big. It was big. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about it more. Jay and Terry and the halftime show will be up next, and they'll be talking about it more. So appreciate you being part of what we do here on a Reaction Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Celebrate